Overeducated.
We're also insane.
So let's not pretend that we don't really care, because we do. We'll
we're
get
distracted
a new
by
one
shiny things, so you can't go by us.
Jason, yeah, given that metric, that $130 doesn't seem, because it's an open contract, so you can't upgrade the Wi-Fi version.
That's the great deal about it. If you're willing to wait, which is the key, and spend the extra $130, you're not committing to AT&T for any period of time. You can turn it on when you find, you're sitting somewhere, literally sitting on a train and going, oh God, I wish I could get on the internet right now. You can pay your $15 for 1 month. It auto cancels at the end of the period, so you're not sort of having to remind yourself to go cancel that later. And then you're on, and it's that simple. So that's a lot of flexibility, but you do have to wait and pay $130 more.
Apple tells me it actually automatically recurs until you cancel. There's no commitment, but you do have to stay to stop the service.
According to the screenshots on their site, there's an option in the settings to say cancel at the end of this month, but we'll have to see when it comes out.
Andy, for the first time, I saw your tweet the other day. You ride the train down from Boston all the time. You've ridden in trains without an iPad. You've now ridden in a train with an iPad. Riding in a train with an iPad is a better experience.
I would definitely say so. Exactly. It's like there's no chance to sleep because there's too much to do. Although it did point out something that I sort of missed. Remember that I've had this for a week, but I've been ordered, don't take it outside. It's like a gremlin. Don't take it outside. Don't get it wet. Don't feed it after 5 p.m. And don't use it out in public. So this was the first day that I was having a real life sort of day with it. And before then, I didn't think that the screen glare off of that glossy screen was a big deal. As a matter of fact, I took it out to the beach on Saturday. It was 28 degrees. There was no one at the beach, so it was good. Because again, responding to those Kindle ads saying you can even take to the beach, right? Discovering that yes, the iPad is perfectly readable at the beach too. My conclusion after the first week was simply that, there's some glare, but you just, there's maybe 1 or 2 angles it doesn't work at. It didn't occur to me until riding the train that if you're sitting in the window seat on a train, you can't tell the train, can you sort of move 20 degrees out away from the sun? Yeah. So there are actually parts of that train ride in which I was not able to read a book.
And Ross, you took it out in sunlight. You thought it held up pretty well.
Yeah, the books held up pretty well. Video got pretty washed out.
Let's talk about the Books app right now. And this is obviously what a lot of people are focused on, whether or not they're going to ditch their Kindle or not. So here's the iBooks app here. And let's jump into the library. Let's go back to the library first. And let's pick a book. Let's see. Jason, I know you wanted to read the Twilight series, so let's jump into Twilight.
Vampires
Big
are my
Stephanie
favorite.
Meyer fan. If you don't know a lot about Jason,
Team Edward, or
he is Team Edward. A lot of you don't know that about Jason. So we jump in, and obviously, what's great about it, I love this.
Exactly.
They're just showing off. I'm not even reading.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I won't even
and then you also
so much fun.
And then you also notice that, of course, they had to draw like the mirror image of the previous page on the back of that page, as though it's bleeding through. It's actually the actual text of the previous page.
Yeah, it's not printed on high quality paper.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, yes,
it's foolscap.
It's not resume paper.
Yeah.
It's
these grace notes. In an app where you're going to be spending 2 or 3 hours at a clip just focused on that one experience. It's those little grace notes that make the whole difference. And coming from a one Kindle household, where my wife is a graduate student and has been reading PDFs, reading textbooks on her Kindle, and ready to throw it out the window because she can't annotate. Right. There's no page number mapping between the print editions and the electronic editions.
That drives me crazy.
She can't copy and paste.
They
won't be with the iPad is going to have that either. But I mean,
they said that they will.
They're highlighting and bookmarking functionality
is
something that we're hearing that they're going to have, right?
There's copy and paste, and there's highlighting and bookmarking. It's the Amazon app, or the Kindle app on the Mac currently will read your bookmarks and annotations. It doesn't let you create new ones. But Kindle is far ahead in terms of interoperability. You can read your Kindle books on the iPad. You can't read your iBooks apps on the Kindle. But still, people who spend their time in text professionally are looking at this and saying, this is a better solution. This is a better way to go.
I have 2 problems with it. The first one, and I got mine this morning and haven't tested this, but apparently the books you buy in iTunes, you can't read on your iTunes client on your Mac.
That's
right?
correct. They're iPad only.
Not yet. But they do also make home sharing available. So if you have 2 or 3 family members, just like with home sharing on your movies and videos, you can share this book with other family members if they're linked to your account.
Okay.
And there's also no iPhone app for the iBook Store.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that's frustrating. Not frustrating, but you're reading stuff on your Kindle app. Yeah. When is that going to happen? So with the syncing,
my impression is that the iBooks app was real late in the game here, and it was buggy when we saw it in January. So I think they were paddling as hard as they could to get it on the iPad, and then the iPhone will come, and probably the Mac and PC too.
But you have to think this was the app that made this a compelling device.
Well,
This is the app that makes it compete with Kindle at all.
I almost think there would have been a better strategy for Apple to at least delay it or let Amazon put the book on that first, because one of the first questions that I've been asking my one day in public with this is that how is it a book reader? Is this a better Kindle? And I have to explain it's a great book reader, but it's not just a book reader, it's a computer.
Yeah. What were you going to say, John?
Well, I just think it's interesting, like, because it is, like I said, it's a blank slate that anything can go on. There's going to be a Kindle app for the iPad, presumably. There are other book readers in the App Store, you know. So the iBook store, the official iBooks app, is not the only way to get ebooks on this. Somebody else, you know.
I think
and Gutenberg getting the 30,000 books that way.
Right.
Sure.
Importing that
EPUB
into
format.
EPUB format.
Right.
God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, it's important to think about reading books. You know, long form content that the Amazon Kindle and other e-readers are very much optimized for, versus other kinds of reading. You know, comic books, great example. Magazines, newspapers. You're going to have Zinio on the iPad. Lots of different magazines. Color obviously brings a lot, but in NPD's research, you know, we've surveyed e-reader owners, and they're super satisfied, you know, with their Kindle experience. It hasn't been the you know, the typical early adopter. It tends to skew a little bit older, you know, very avid reader. If you're just in it for the books and most of the text, you know, maybe a good solution for you.
The number of books that the average Kindle owner buys is phenomenal. They buy a ton of books for that.
It's high, you know.
I like buying books and not even reading them.
Right.
You just want to flip through the page.
Heritage. We now have the unread e-book edition of Ulysses instead of the unread print edition.
It's like, you know, I joined the Oprah Book Club because I just like to buy the books. So the women who come over
Because you're just
say,
like Oprah.
You're so sensitive. So, you know, here's the Kindle DX, of course. Now, you know, this is the idea, Jason, right? That this is, I mean, what, $359?
$459.
Yeah, I think the DX is
$459.
It's like a small, cheap Kindle is going to still have a place if all you want to do is read. You don't want to surf the web or RSS or anything else the iPad does.
Sony's
the
been
DX,
offering.
It's so huge and it's so expensive. I think it's dead.
Sony's been offering the Pocket Edition for $169, and I'm sure you'll find them below $100.
I do this
in
thing.
due
You guys
time.
probably all do the same thing because I'm a gadget geek. Whenever I'm on an airplane and I go to the restroom and come back, I look at what everybody's using. How many people are using this? How many people are using that? I haven't been on a flight without a couple of Kindle owners in a long time, at least a year. I've never seen the big Kindle DX.
I've seen one on
I
the
think I've
subway.
seen
I
one.
saw one on the subway this morning, and the guy looked kind of nervous.
Must have been the same guy.
Well,
kind of nervous.
He looked like people were going to think it was an iPad and take it away from him. He had that,
There was no one
twitchy
that was going to make that mistake.
from behind. But.
I saw an old guy, and it looked like, I mean, he looked like, you know, he was shaking the whole time with his glasses on. That's the only guy. He wanted, like, the biggest type possible.
Right.
That's the only guy I've seen with a Kindle DX in public. And from the magazine perspective, too, I want, Andy, if you can pull up your Time magazine app again. So third-party publishers, we're hearing some stories about the Wall Street Journal going to charge $17, I think $29 a month now for the subscription, which everyone's saying, wow, that's really expensive.
Yeah.
Time magazine, though, this is their special app.
Yes, it's a custom app. It's not it's a $4.99 app that you download, which gave me a little bit pause. I'm not sure how many times I'm going to spend $4.99 for a copy of Time. Maybe when
is it one? Now wait, is it once and done?
It's an issue.
It's per issue, right?
Per
So, so you're buying just this one sort of big.
Each issue is a separate app.
I was looking for, and I was expecting like a library app. Instead, it's an app called Time Magazine, April 12th,
Wow.
2010.
Esquire's been doing that for the iPhone for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
Each issue of Esquire comes out as a monthly app.
And I've heard that Playboy does that too.
You'll only three to get the fold-out centerfold. Really, this is something I was talking about with somebody at lunch today, that I think that the big win, though, is if they can make sure that they sort of reverse the reasons why people have not been buying magazines. It used to be that you'd buy Time or Esquire, and it would be like 100, 200, 300 pages of really great images and photography, where people would say, this motocross race is not a really good story, but boy, Chuck brought back some great images, so we're going to do an 8-page spread.